Welcome students. In this class, let us talk some concepts regarding nuclear fusion. See, if that binding energy curve you remember, that curve was something like this, right? Here you have average binding energy and this was your atomic number. So, when you are moving towards the region A is greater than 220 or let us say 230, you come across heavy nucleus and they decay, and here this region belongs to fission. Similarly, there is a zone, this zone, where you have lighter nuclei, and this zone is the fusion zone. Now here what happens is two lighter nuclei, they combine to form another nuclei, slightly heavier nuclei, okay, little heavier compared with this. Alright, so in this process energy is emitted. Why? Because left hand side are reactants, right hand side are products. Reactant mass, let us say Mr, products mass, let us say MP. This is Mr is greater than MP, that means there is some delta M. So you know that energy mass equivalence, this is multiply with C square, that is the amount of energy that is released in the process. So nuclear fusion gives tremendous amount of energy, but here the process is two lighter nuclei add together and form a slightly heavier nuclei. Alright, so this is the process involved in a nuclear fusion. Let us see, just because it will come in the discussion, let us see the isotopes of hydrogen. 1H1, 1H2, 1H3. See, hydrogen is the simplest possible atom available in the universe. It's a single atom and it has got only one proton. Hydrogen has got only one proton and one electron. It is the simplest possible atom. Alright, single atom. So this is your regular hydrogen, and universe is totally maximum is filled up with hydrogen only. Now this is another isotope of this. This is deuterium, and this is tritium. If you come across, you have to know the names. All right. Similarly, when you talk about helium, you have helium 3 and helium 4. These two isotopes of helium are available, so we need to note them. Okay, so here basically what happens is, in fusion process, these hydrogen atoms, they combine together and form helium. So what is hydrogen? Just now we discussed that it is basically, hydrogen atom means it's having one proton. Now let us discuss one concept. Let us say this is a proton, okay, having a plus charge, and this is another proton. I want to combine these two. First of all, is it possible? It looks to be very highly impossible, you know. See, between proton and proton you will have an electrostatic force. So if it is moving towards this proton, what will happen? It will go up to a certain distance, and when it goes closer to this another proton, their repulsion will increase. So it will go and it will return, because when the distance, what is Fe? It is K Q1 Q2 by R square. R is the distance between the two charged particles. So if you try to bring them together, what happens is, this will go, but after some distance it will repel. The repulsive forces will be very strong. So let us say I am giving some kinetic energy to this. Forcibly I am sending. What will happen? Initially kinetic energy I am not giving, then I am increasing the kinetic energy. So it will, when I increase the kinetic energy, it will go even more closer, then even more closer. So if I keep on increasing this kinetic energy, it will come very very close to the second proton. And when the gap between them is in Fermi means what? 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. I did something and I'm bringing this proton very very close in this range. That is, now the distance between the protons is in the order of 1 Fermi or 2 Fermi. In that range I have brought it. You know what will happen? Now here strong nuclear force will come into picture. Nuclear forces will come into picture. Alright? I do something, I bring them close. When they are separated by long distances, nuclear forces will not act. But nuclear forces are very very strong when the distance is very very small. When the distance is in this order, they are very very powerful. Okay, so I need to increase the kinetic energy of this proton so that it comes very very close, and here this strong nuclear forces will act and they fuse together. So this is what happens. Now how to get this much kinetic energy? So the temperature plays a very big role over here. This type of fusion process happens at very very high temperatures. Temperatures in the order of 10 power 8, 10 power 9 Kelvin. Only this process will happen. Because what happens is, when the temperature increases, the kinetic energy of the particles increase tremendously. So this amount of temperature production is very very difficult. Even this amount of temperature is not available even in the sun. Alright, all these stars what you see, they glow, the energy they possess is because of fusion process only. So this amount of temperature is required to bring this proton very very close so that the fusion process happens. Alright, so this is the basic thing that is involved in a fusion process. Okay, so basically what happens is, when the fission process happens, tremendous amount of energy is released. So this hydrogen bomb concept what you see is part fission plus part fusion process. Alright, so this much amount of temperature can be produced by fission process, and the next stage can be a fusion process. Alright, now let us discuss this fusion process. The one which I am discussing here is also called proton-proton cycle. Basically, protons combine together to form a helium nucleus. Alright, protons combine together. What is proton? Means hydrogen atom only, because in hydrogen atom there is only one proton. So here what happens is, one hydrogen atom fuses with another hydrogen atom, and in the process you get deuterium. A positron is created and some gamma rays are emitted. So their energy will be 0.42 million electron volts. Now this positron what is created, it immediately mixes with available electron, and in this process two gamma radiations, photons, what are these? Basically photons are emitted. Photons are emitted means this much energy is released. Alright, see, you may think that why this energy is getting released means, if you individually weigh them, let us say this is 2 gram, this will be 1.9 grams. So there is a mass defect. That mass defect multiplied by c square is this value. Alright, so these two happen, this is one set. Alright, first this happens, positron created, positron immediately mixes with electron, and in this process some 2 gamma rays are emitted, and this kind of neutralizes, this positron is neutralized by an electron, positive charge, negative charge, now net charge 0. Now in this process this is created. Alright, So take that and add, it fuses with another proton. 1H1 means what? It fuses with another proton, and in that process an isotope of helium is created. Helium 3 is created. They fuse. I told you that this is possible when tremendous amount of energy is provided to the proton. So this will be operating at a temperature of 10 power 9 K. At normal room temperature you cannot do this. Okay, you're bringing one proton near to another proton, so you need to give tremendous energy, kinetic energy to this. So kinetic energy is proportional to the temperature. Higher temperature, because you're dealing with gaseous materials here, isn't it? So you did, let us say you did some process. Deuterium you have fused with hydrogen, you get helium 3, and in this process also gamma rays emitted, again because of mass defect. Take the left hand side mass, take the right hand side mass, take the defect, this much energy is released. If the mass is balanced, this is left hand side is 3 grams, right hand side also 3 grams, no mass defect, no energy. But actually it is not like that. So helium 3 is created. So this whole, see, these two steps are step 1, this is step 2. Step 1 plus step 2 is one set. This whole thing is one set. This is one set. Imagine similar set happens parallelly. Just parallel to this type of activity happens. Then what will happen? You get two helium 3. Now they will fuse with each other, and in the process a helium nucleus is created and two protons are released with an energy of 12.86 mega electron volts. All these values are in MeV, mega electron volts. So in the process, how much energy is released means, add these three, this one, this one, this one, multiplied by 2. Why? Because this is set 1, here you will have set 2, multiplied by 2, plus once you get 2 He3, you fuse them to get a helium. So basically what happened, how much energy totally you get? 26.7 million electron volts. With one simple fusion process, with one process, you are getting 26.7 million electron volts. The energy that is obtained by a fusion process is much higher compared with that of a fission process. Alright. Now here basically what happened means, here there are two protons. Okay, you see here how many protons? Two protons got released, and here total how many protons are involved in the process? You see here two protons were there. All right, one more proton, three proton. This is one set. Similarly you have another set, three protons here, three protons from here, total six protons. 3 and 3 they were mixing, 3 protons here mixing with another 3 protons, 2 protons released, and 2 protons formed a core of a helium nucleus. 4 formed a core of helium nucleus. Total 6 were there, 2 were released, 4 left. So the core of helium is created, and in this process tremendous amount of energy is released. This is basically the process involved in the nuclear fusion. And doing this, practically is very difficult. It is not like our nuclear reactor, what we are doing in a fission process. Fission process, even though it is complicated and risky, it is somewhat easier than this process, because you need this amount of temperature setups to operate this whole stuff. Okay, so with this nuclear fusion process, we have discussed the basic nuclear reactions. So we need to see okay, one more small concept is left that we will discuss now. See, sometimes questions are asked on nuclear power calculations, and basically we are talking here about fission process. Let us see. See, power is defined as work done by time taken, or energy by time. Okay, energy by time. Just a minute. Okay, power basically is defined as work done by time taken or energy created by the time taken. If this is one fission process, if there are n fission process, n E by T. So this is the equation we are going to use for calculation of power, for nuclear power I'm talking about in fission process. Alright, now let us say power is 1 watt. Power is 1 watt. You know that in one fission process 200 million electron volts of energy is created because of the mass defect concept I told you. Alright, so how many fissions have to happen? That means what is the value? How many fissions should happen to create 1 watt of power? What is 1 watt? 1 joule per second. 1 joule per second is called 1 watt. So T is equal to 1 here, 1 second. So let us just calculate. So 1 watt is equal to N into E is 200 into 10 to the power of 6 into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. See, 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules divided by 1 second. So just calculate the value of N here. N is equal to 1 divided by 200 into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 13. If you calculate this, you're going to get, let me just do the calculation. It is 3.125 into 10 to the power of 10. What is this N? This is the number of fissions. Number of fissions. If these number of fissions happen, then you are generating 1 watt of power. That is what we have understood with this example. Let us say 10 grams of uranium 235 is used as a fuel rod. Alright, how much power is produced, assuming that all the energy involved in the fission process is completely converting into usable power? Alright, I'll explain that what I am talking about. So here, see, first you need to calculate. See, basically you have to calculate the total energy. See, one fission is giving you how much? 200 million electron volts, right? Now uranium 235 means what? 10 grams. This is the fuel rod. All right. So how many? See, how many atoms will be there in that? So 235 grams. 1 mole will be 235 grams. Actually, it will be 235.04 something. That value will be there. The decimal part we are ignoring. So 1 mole we are saying that 235 grams. It will have Avogadro number of atoms, which is nothing but 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23 atoms. 235 grams. But your fuel rod weight is how much? 10 grams. 10 grams will have how many atoms? 10 into 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23 divided by 235. These many atoms it will have in this fuel rod. Okay, I hope I'm clear. So just make this calculation. So 10 into 6.022 divided by 235, 0.256. This is 0.256 into 10 to the power of 23 atoms. Alright, and all are participating in the fission. See, one fission, one nucleus is used in the fission process is giving you this much. These many atoms means those number of nuclei. So what will be the total energy released? The total energy will be how much? For one, it is 200 mega electron volts. It is 10 power 6. Electron volt, I told you, it is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. This is for one fission process. How many fission process possible? For each atom, one can possible. So these many atoms are there. Into 0.256 into 10 to the power of 23. Let us just calculate. So it is 200 into 1.6 into 0.256. It is 81.92. Let us just check the powers of 10. 10 power 6, 10 power minus 19, 10 power minus 13, 10 power 23, minus 13 plus 23 into 10 to the power of 10. What is this? Joules. If the whole process happens in 1 second, what is the power output? The power output will be how much? Ne by T. So this is this value, 81.92 into 10 to the power of 10 joules per 1 second. So joules per second is watts. So 81.92 into 10 to the power of 10 watts, or 81.92. Divide this value by 10 power 6. You will get the value in mega. So if you divide 10 power 10 by 10 power 6, you get 10 power 4 megawatt. Just a theoretical calculation we have done. So this is how you can calculate the nuclear power output. So sometimes what happens is, like I was telling you, see, the fission process is creating this much of energy, but entire energy need not be converted into a usable nuclear and nuclear power. Okay, अभी देखो 200 मिलियन इलेक्ट्रॉन वोल्ट क्रिएट हुआ, इसमें लॉसेस भी तो हो सकते हैं. अगर प्लांट का एफिशिएंसी 80% है मान लो, दैट मीन्स 20% लॉसेस हो गया. प्लांट में 100 यूनिट प्रोड्यूस हुआ लेकिन 20% लॉस में चला गया, तो 80 बचा. तो अगर क्वेश्चन में बोला जाता है कि सम एफिशिएंसी, प्लांट एफिशिएंसी इज 80%, then what will be the power output? The power output will be this value multiplied by 8 by 10. Okay? क्योंकि इतना पावर जनरेट होना चाहिए था. This much of power should have been generated. Just okay. This much of power should have been generated, but because there are some losses, 20% is gone, 80% is remaining. So whatever this value multiplied by 0.8 is the power output. Okay then.